Welcome to I Do in the Caribbean Facebook group, and I want to welcome all the new members that joined the Facebook group recently. So I just want to welcome you to the group. I'm Sandra. I'm the admin for I Do in the Caribbean Facebook group, and I try to answer all questions related to planning your destination wedding. Today's topic is a topic I get all the time. Everyone wants a destination wedding, but they don't know where to start, how to begin, what to do. So I thought, even if you've been in the group and you've heard this before, it's always good to hear more information. Hopefully, you can get something new from it. So today's topic is really, how to start planning your destination wedding, what things you should be thinking about when you're planning, how would that change, how you plan a destination wedding. So let's start with planning. So last week, I just came back on Sunday. I was in Mexico for a destination wedding that I planned for a couple. So they did their wedding at Dreams Riviera Cancun. And I am standing in their backup location, meaning that the couple planned for a beach wedding, but because of weather, they had to move the wedding indoors. So we're on a terrace that was covered, and that's where they had the wedding ceremony, and the reception was in the ballroom. So this is just to tell you that you can plan for your beach wedding, but when it comes to the date, things can change and you have to adjust to it. So nothing is going to be, I would say, perfect. It does take a lot of planning to make sure you have that day that you envision. So as I said, we were planning an outdoor beach wedding. We had to take it to the terrace. So things do happen that can change the wedding that you envision in your head, because the whole reason of having a destination wedding is to have it on the beach or is to have it outside. So that's just one thing you need to consider, that even though you're planning this outdoor wedding, things might happen that could change that completely. So the first thing I would say, if you're thinking about a destination wedding, is really you have to come up with a realistic budget, because a budget is going to drive everything in your wedding planning process. So that's the stuff I'm saying is the most important thing, because the thing you have to think about is, in your budget, you should have the accommodation, meaning your accommodation. What is that going to cost you? The flight to get to the destination you're going to have your wedding, transfers, to and from the airport, the wedding package. How much is the wedding package going to cost you? Are you going to have any group activities? Your wedding attire, meaning that whatever you're going to buy to take with you to the wedding, what you need for the wedding, and if you're going to have gift bags for your guests. So that's just the basic stuff to think about, because that, the wedding package in itself is a whole different life, just what's included in the wedding package. But these are things I think you should have an idea of what it's going to cost for you to have this wedding. The other thing that will drive your budget is how many people are invited. Is it going to be a small, intimate wedding with 10 people, or is it going to be a big wedding with 100 people? Because the more people you have at your wedding, the more it's going to cost you, because you have to pay per person. What destinations are you considering? Not all destinations are created equally, meaning that if you pick Jamaica or Mexico, the wedding might cost you less, because those areas are not as expensive as going to, say, St. Lucia, Turks and Caicos, so Aruba, like smaller islands. It might cost you more to have a wedding there. It also might cost you more to travel there. So these are things that you have to consider, like how long is it going to take your guests or you to get to the destination that you want to go? How much is going to cost you? Because that's really going to, have an impact on your budget. The date. What date do you have in mind? Because the date's going to impact your budget. Meaning that if you're booking it through January through like April or June, those are the months people are always looking to get married, and it costs more, especially if it's during a holiday. So you have to consider, if it's a winter wedding, it's going to cost more, because to fly, people always tend to go away during the winter time, and it costs more to travel during that time. So picking the right date is definitely going to have an impact on your budget. And then what is your vision? What kind of wedding are you thinking of? Do you want a luxury wedding? Do you want fireworks? Do you want, lighted dance floor? You want up lights? You want beautiful flowers? All that is going to have an impact on your budget, and it's going to make your budget bigger. So really starting out with a realistic budget, like, all right, my budget is $10,000. What can I afford with $10,000? So having a budget first is a good way to kind of figure out, is your destination wedding affordable, or what type of destination wedding can you get with that budget? The next thing I would say is the destination. I talked about that a little bit before. Picking the right destination can impact your budget. And also, this is something you're thinking about. You're having a destination wedding. Where do you want to have it? What country do you want to have it? Are you going to have a legal wedding or a symbolic wedding? Because a legal wedding comes with different requirements. Like if you're getting married in Mexico, you need a blood test. You need to have your document translated in from English to Spanish. It's going to cost a lot more fee to have a destination wedding in Mexico and Dominican Republic, because they're both Spanish speaking country. Your ceremony, if it's legal, will be in Spanish. So there's a lot of things really to think about when you pick a destination. What is that impact on your wedding? How is it going to change having your wedding there? And for the most part, I tell people they're getting married in certain countries, just do a legal ceremony in the US and just do a symbolic ceremony when they get to destination, because number one, it's going to save them money and also save them a lot of time. So as I said, when you're picking a destination, also you're going to look at travel. If you're going to St. Lucia, how much flights do they have going to St. Lucia? Different, what's the weather like there? Because weather plays definitely a very important part of the destination. Like as I said, we were in Cancun, Mexico, the first week of September. The first couple of days we were there, it rained a little bit, but it didn't impact any of the wedding. But on the wedding day, it was raining so much, we had to change the location. So the weather will have a big impact on your wedding. If you pick some place like Aruba, they don't have a lot of rainfall and the weather is always good all year long. So if you don't want to be impacted by bad weather, then you want to pick some place that is the least impactful place that you can have your wedding and not worry about the weather. The other good thing is, if you're planning an outdoor wedding, I would definitely consider putting a tent up, because at least if it's bad weather, you can still have your wedding outside, and that will cost you more. Some places a tent could cost as much as $2,000. The time of year in destination. When are you having a wedding? Are you having a June wedding? If you're having a August wedding tends to be cheaper in the fall. So if you're looking to save some money, having a wedding in the fall could save you more money. Also, the destination like Mexico, we're out of the seaweed season, meaning that if you're looking for a beach wedding, most of the beaches in Mexico, they have a seaweed problem. Is that something you have to think about? Do I want to be in Mexico during this time frame? Because there's a certain months of the year that is more seaweed than ever. So, that could impact you if you want to have a beach wedding. How many direct flights are there to this destination? The travel time, the cost. These are things that you really need to think about when you're planning. This is initial planning. You haven't picked anything yet. You're just looking at all your options. You really need to put pen to paper and try to come up with some kind of system as to, I want a destination wedding. These are things I need to think about, and then start making a decision. The amount of resorts that's available within your destination. Mexico, we have hundreds of resorts that's available for you to pick from different price points. Jamaica is the same thing. Jamaica has a ton of resort. Whether you want all-inclusive or you want boutique, it's available there. But when you pick smaller islands, like if you pick even Aruba, there might be only 2 or 3 resorts that are all-inclusive. The rest are just hotel. So you really have to do a little bit of research, I think, in order of like, what are you looking for? You're looking for all-inclusive resort, or you're looking for just a venue or a hotel or someplace to host your guests. So, and the type of, accommodation you're looking for. You want luxury? Do you want budget? Does this place provide that for you? And also the biggest thing you're doing is you're having a destination wedding. So definitely your vision. Is that destination, is it going to be in line with the vision you have for your wedding? So definitely something to think about, is 1, the budget, and 2, the destination. The other thing is the resort or venue. I just said, are you looking for a destination, an all-inclusive resort, or just a hotel and having it at a specific venue? Like in Jamaica, there's lots of venues off property that you can have your wedding while, people still like stay in a hotel. You can have it at a waterfall. You can have it by a specific private beach. So there's a lot of places available, but it all depends on what you want. I always tell my guests, all-inclusive is always better. You pay one price, everything is included. It just makes it easier for your guests to come up with a budget when you're it's in an all-inclusive resort. The number one thing is, when you pick a resort, does this resort have what you're looking for? If you're looking for a beach wedding, if you're looking for a garden wedding, if you want to be on top of a terrace, does this resort offer all the things you're looking for, that fit the vision for your destination wedding. The wedding locations availability. One of the things I'm telling most of my couples that I'm working with is, next is 2022. A lot of couples are looking for those magical dates. 2/22/22, 4/22/22, 5/22/22. Those are the first dates to be booked up because those are dates that other couples are looking at. So definitely, if you're looking to plan a wedding within the next 6 to 8 months and you haven't picked a resort yet, or finalize your wedding date, you really need to get on it, because for 2022, a lot of those dates that people are looking at are all booked up already, because people are booking their weddings. So definitely, look, make sure the dates available that you're looking for in the resort that you're looking for before you even pick the resort. Because part of what I do is, when I meet with my couple, once we've gotten a vision of what they're looking for, I look for a resort that match that vision, whether it's the accommodation, the pricing of the accommodation, the pricing of the wedding package, making sure that the date that they're looking for and time is available before I even say anything to them. So definitely, when you look at resort, you're going to look at the cost of accommodation for you and your guests. You want to make sure that your accommodation is reasonable, meaning that if you're going to invite people to come to your wedding, it must be reasonable that they can afford to come. So definitely, it's your wedding, but really you're inviting guests to come. You have to make sure that they can actually afford to come to your wedding. The type of room categories that are available, type of entertainment, the food, the activity, do they have good customer service, the distance to and from the airport. That can make a difference. Like if you're having a wedding in Mexico and you're thinking about Tulum, that's like an hour, 20 minutes away. Once somebody's on a flight for 3-4 hours, do they want to drive another hour and a half to get to the resort? So those are things you really need to think about before you even pick anywhere, just to make sure that you're covering all those things. The other thing is challenges. You plan a destination wedding. People think, yeah, I'm going to plan a destination wedding. But the question I get asked the most is, how do I start? What do I do? Where do I begin? And, part of the challenges is just not knowing where to start. So I get that question a lot. I want a destination wedding, but I don't know where to start. And the next thing is getting the right information. You can go do search on the internet, search the resort information, and still not get the information that you need to really, make an informed decision. How much does it cost? Like, what does a destination wedding cost? That's like, when I hear that, it just sends almost like shivers down my spine. Like, how much does it cost? I wish I had a magical one. I said, "Ooh, your destination wedding is going to cost you $6,000, and that's it." There's so many things that go into the cost of your wedding. So I can never answer that question, because it all depends on what's your vision, what destination you're looking at, what resort you're looking at, how many people are coming. It's so many things that goes into what will my destination wedding cost me. So that is like something that cannot be answered easily. I can give you an estimation of maybe what it would cost depending on what resort you're looking for, but I can never give you an actual cost of what your wedding is going to cost. And any budget you have, I would say add another 20% to it, because it's always going to be more than what you think it's going to cost you. Not knowing what to expect when you get to the resort. A lot of people, they're planning a destination wedding. Of course, if you're planning in a foreign country, you probably have never been to that country before. You've never been to that resort before. You don't know what to expect, or what is the destination wedding planning process at the resort, or what do you need to do to get that process started, or what are the requirements if you want a legal wedding? When do you need to get on the resort? When do you need to get on the island? What documentation do you need? This is a lot of information that you need to get together to start planning your wedding. Not another challenge, I would say, getting everyone to the resort. Once you've picked the destination, you've picked the resort, how do you get your guests to that place? How do you plan that? Do you do it yourself? Do you hire a travel advisor? Do you book through the resort directly? There's so many things that you need to consider. And the challenges is like figuring out what's the best way to do it. Coordinating your events and activity. Once you get on property, you're going to have welcome cocktail, you're going to have bonfire, you're going to have any activity, beach activity. How do you plan those things? So these are questions, are challenges that, if anyone's planning a wedding, they're thinking in the back of their head, it's like, these are all the things that I just don't know where to start. There's so many things that I need to think about in having that destination wedding. How do I do it? So some of the solutions I would say in helping you starting to plan that wedding, I would say would be research. A lot of people do this. A lot of people like to do it themselves. If you're a do-it-yourself type of person, you can plan your destination wedding. It's just going to take a lot of research, a lot of calling people on the phone, a lot of trying to get the right information and hoping that you have the right information. So definitely it can be done. It's just time consuming. And if you're doing it all by yourself, it's just a little bit overwhelming. So that can be very overwhelming. Even doing the research, you still not get all the information that you need because most time the resort are not responsive. So you can send an email, you can call them, you cannot get through. Being a travel advisor myself, I have direct connections to these resorts. I have numbers that are for travel agents only. So I can always get in touch with a resort, get their detailed wedding packages, confirm wedding dates if they have availability. And I can do that real fast because I have the connections that I have being a travel advisor. I would say join a Facebook group. There are so many Facebook groups out there that are all for people planning a wedding, brides, destination wedding, wedding abroad. These are all great groups to join that can give you some information, but they're really not going to give you all the guidance you're looking for. They might have one or two information, but there's no one there that are, I would say, expert that can answer the questions for you, who will be there with you from the beginning to the end. So joining these groups are great. You can ask a question in there to other couples or, that are going through the same process, but these couples are all going through the same process. I'm not sure what, they can answer some of your questions, but is that going to be good enough for you? I would say the best solution is to hire a professional destination wedding specialist, which is what I do. I plan destination wedding in the Caribbean and Mexico. I use the knowledge that I have, being a Jamaican destination wedding specialist, understanding what the rules are and getting married in the various Caribbean countries. So I try, I meet with my clients and try to get an understanding of what the vision they're looking for and try to match them with the right destination, right resort, walk them through the wedding package, walk them through getting a group contract. So to me, one of the best solutions would be hire a professional. That's what they do for a living. That's what I do. So it's easy for me to go through the process of planning a destination wedding because I know what the process is because I've done it over and over and over again. So, that's one of the solutions. So just to be clear, let's go over the steps. So if you're thinking of having a destination wedding, you don't know where to begin, the first step would be you pick a destination. I'm not sure you're going to pick a destination. It could be someplace you vacationed before that you like, someplace you always want to get married in at that place. You want to get married in an over the water chapel that Sandals have. Then it's an easy decision for you to make because you know what you want. Selecting the resort. So you're going to select the destination, whether it's Mexico, Dominican Republic, St. Lucia, Jamaica, wherever. Then you can select a resort if you want all inclusive or you want a boutique resort. So that's step number 2. And then you're going to review the wedding package. So once you pick a destination, you pick a resort, you get their wedding package, you understand it, you confirm that your date and time is available. You put a deposit down on your wedding package, boom, your wedding is booked. It's secured. And now I guess what you need to get is, are you going to secure rooms for your guests? I always suggest if you're going to have over 30 to 40 people at your wedding that you get a room group contract, meaning that you're going to get a contract for about 10 to 15 rooms that you're going to hold at a specific price. So all the guests can book into it and their rooms will be available. If you don't have a group room contract, that's fine too. Guests will just book their room on their own. Hopefully they book the right resort and they'll just show up for your wedding. So you really have no control over that. You don't know when they've booked, what dates they're coming because they're booking on their own. So for the couple, that's to me, it's a process that I don't really like because you don't know when all your guests are arriving unless when they book, say I booked for these dates. So this is the dates I'm coming and they share that information with you. Sometimes guests book on their own because they want to surprise you and you don't know they're coming to your wedding because that happened at the last wedding that somebody just booked out of the group and they just showed up because they wanted to surprise the couple. So surprises are good, but when you plan a destination wedding, those surprises are not so good because you have to account for everyone that's coming to the wedding. And if you pay for a certain number of people and more people show up, it's not like a domestic wedding that people tend to just show up. You're counting, it's a head count thing. You're paying for each person that's there. So if you budget for 100 and 120 show up, that just throws off your budget. I mean, so once you've done your wedding date and package, you get set up a group contract if you're doing that for the guests so they can book their room. Then you're gonna send out your save the dates. And once that's done and people know you're coming to your wedding, you can just send out formal invitation, or you can do e-invite so people can get more detailed information of the destination you have in your wedding, the resort, the date of your wedding, which is very important, and just when any kind of activities happening. You're gonna have welcome cocktail, you're gonna have farewell bonfire, whatever you're gonna have. So at least the guests will know what dates they need to be at the resort, because that's very important. And then 4 to 6 months before your wedding, you'll actually start the wedding process with the wedding coordinator at the resort. So that is, to me, all the steps that you kind of need to follow to do your wedding. So with all that said, if you still need help getting started, you can book a free consultation with me. I'll be more than happy to sit with you, kind of walk you through the wedding process, kind of get an understanding of what you're looking for, and then we can see if we're a good fit, and then we can work together to help you plan your wedding. If you haven't done so, you can join my free Facebook group, I Do in the Caribbean, where I come on weekly and try to share information and insight tips on planning your destination wedding. If you are do-it-yourself type of person, you can go join the group. I have no issues with that. If you have any questions, you can also send me, message me, because I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have around planning a destination wedding. And I said before, you can hire me. I'm a destination wedding specialist, and I can help you through that process, helping you plan your wedding. So those are the things that I have for you. So until next week, thank you so much for joining me. And if you have any specific question on planning a destination wedding, if you haven't joined my Facebook group, it's I Do in the Caribbean Facebook group. And as I said, it's a Facebook group for couples looking to get married in the Caribbean or Mexico. And if you need help planning your wedding and you want a professional to help you, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to set up some time that we can meet and see if we're a good fit and help you plan your wedding. Bye for now, and thanks for joining.